Hello, this is Adam Virgo, and you are listening to the V2 Football Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the V2 Football Podcast. I'm Chris Lappin, and joining me this week I've got Nick Davey.
Good evening.
Getting a mild stroke then.
I was just a bit lost.
In the Dan Tracy.
Good evening.
Shane Lees.
Hello.
Cut.
No. You're good, lads?
Yep. Nick's a bit lost with hello.
Yeah, alright, sorry, I wasn't concentrating.
I thought we'll start with a couple of breaking-ish news stories. Dan, great news. Pochettino signed.
Yeah, puts to bed any sort of doubts that he'll be off to Manchester United in the summer, which is great news. I think it's a bit of a timely piece of good news as well. With Tottenham's mini slump at the moment, it should just give him a bit of a resurgence, hopefully on Sunday. So all bodes well for not just the weekend, but the sort of medium-term future, and hopefully beyond.
Has he been promoted? Because they're referring to him as the manager today, where he's usually the head coach.
It's not promotion, really. There's definitely a change of terminology, isn't there, with the title. I think what that'll probably mean is he'll have probably a greater say in transfer targets over the summer, because, you know, the head coach is only sort of working with the players, not having that direct link to sort of the issues above. But now sort of with the manager title, he should be all-encompassing and then have a greater say in who comes in and out over the summer.
See, I'm quite glad about this decision, and it's got nothing to do with Tottenham as to why I'm glad. Because Man United fans, for quite a while now, have been going, oh, we'll get Pochettino. I think they haven't quite adjusted to the fact they aren't quite as big as they once were. And this is another little reminder of, yeah, it's not quite as easy as it always was for you to just go out and get whoever you wanted. So, like, I couldn't understand why he would have left Tottenham. Who is a better prospect at the moment in the Premier League? I mean, anyone. Not between Tottenham and United, between anyone. Who is a better prospect to manage than Tottenham at the moment?
There's still a pecking order, though.
Yeah, but it's no longer quite as big a gap, and the fact is, Tottenham have Champions League football, United probably don't. Tottenham probably have around a similar transfer budget. Yeah, I just think that the gap at the moment is so small, and if you're talking about reputation, yeah, that's definitely a thing, but it's no longer so much of a pull with a club like United, and I think Tottenham are showing that.
Also, Roberto Martinez has been sacked by Everton. Is anyone surprised by this?
No.
Not a surprise, really, is it? Not after their last 3 defeats away from home. They've just been absolutely awful, I think.
I mean, there's been on holiday mode already, but they've taken it to another level, haven't they? Really?
It's like people talk about Martinez. He had that really good first season. Well, no, he just kind of built on what was already there, and then when it was finally time to turn it into a Martinez team, 11th, and then maybe as low as 16th. I mean, it's really just, it's such a very clear downward spiral from one good season picking up from where David Moyes left off with an absolute solid base. You can knock David Moyes for a few things, but he put in a proper structure into that club in terms of the development of the players. And I think you look at Martinez, he does have a history of doing this with clubs now, doesn't he? Just sort of taking off from someone else's really good work and slowly ruining it.
So
I think also, sorry Shane, I think it's quite interesting. I think mentioned it a couple of weeks before that Tottenham and Everton are sort of in the same bracket where, you know, they're sort of aspiring to be in that top 4 tier of clubs, and it's quite interesting the stark difference between the two clubs now, how sort of Tottenham are on the rise, Everton seems to be sort of going backwards. It's sort of weird how Tottenham could almost gone that way themselves if they appointed the wrong managers, so it gives you sort of a grounding as to how sort of far Tottenham have come, but also how far Everton have declined over the last few years.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the difference between the two clubs. I mean, Everton have got a team that is good enough for top 4. There's not that much of a difference between Kane and Lukaku, or between Stones and Dyer, these sorts of players. It's starting because Everton just shouldn't be anywhere near where they are. This is a side that should, I was saying at the start of the season, they're going to be competing for top 4. Massively wrong on that one, but they should have been competing for top 4. And you're right, completely. The differences between them and Tottenham aren't that great. So to see them have such a bad season, you do have to put it on the manager, because they were consistently, if not actually getting into those spots, competing for those spots beforehand.
I think it was the home form that's cost them, because I think it's one of the worst home form ever. I think that's something to come. I don't have the figures in front of me. But...
It's certainly not helped, has it? I mean, you're right. The fact they've won more points away from home than they have at Goodison Park, and the Goodison Park atmosphere has almost become like toxic, and it's been detrimental to the team's performances. But I just think everything in general, like we've touched on many times, the club just seems to be going backwards. And I think Shane hit the nail on the head that his first season he just sort of was lucky in the sense that David Moyes left a relatively good platform for him to build on, and he didn't build on it at all. He just regressed the club, and look at where they are now. So, dare I say, if he somehow did stay for another season, you'd be looking at almost in a relegation battle, because they've just been absolutely abysmal this season.
Well, Goodison Park, even nowadays, most clubs are taking points off each other all over the place. But even at the top four clubs, when it was always such a hierarchy of the top four clubs, going to Goodison Park was never an easy game for any club.
Oh yeah, Goodison Park was always a fortress.
Came back from Goodison Park with a draw, you'd had a good result.
Now these days, support if you don't win by more than one goal.
Yeah, it's the comparison you've got between Moyes and Martinez. Moyes made Goodison Park a fortress.
Whose dog's that?
That's my dog, he's being a dick. Yeah, Moyes made Goodison Park a fortress. And you look at what it turned into. Shut up, dog. You look at what it turned into, and it's absolutely shocking how that's happened in such a short period of time. Hero's right, Goodison Park was supposed to be one of those grounds where clubs like United, clubs like Chelsea, they go there and they drop points. They can change title races. This year, when we had our game at Goodison Park, I was disappointed we didn't get the win. And that's ridiculous. Goodison Park, Everton Football Club. A team like Southampton going there and thinking we should be having all 3 points here. That's stupid. That should not be the way it is.
It says Frank de Boer and Benitez have been mentioned as possible replacements.
I think Frank de Boer's nailed on. His brother's already said that he wants to go to that club.
Yeah, he quit Ajax today.
I don't think that'll be a good appointment. I think you look at what's gone wrong for Everton this year. It's not expressive attacking play. It's not good possession play. It's all of the basics. And you go out there and you appoint a manager who's never done the Premier League before, who is not known for doing the basics well. He's known for being a possession-oriented, attacking manager. You just sort of think, well, that's just a massive sidestep. You're just changing the face on the guy who's running it. They needed someone who was going to take it a bit more back to basics, who was going to be able to stabilise that club properly. I know this is probably not going to be the most popular suggestion. I think they should have gone back for David Moyes. Sure, it might seem like a backward step at the time, but I think when you look at exactly what that club needs, as in what they've been doing wrong for the past 3 years, it's the exact things that David Moyes does well. So I can't see why they wouldn't go for it. For me, if they get the ball, that's just such a sideward step.
Do you not think that they probably looked at like what Southampton did? We're getting Koeman in and thought, it's worth for Southampton. Club of similar size at the moment. It might work for us.
I think Koeman came in with a bit of a bigger reputation, and the difference with Koeman is he's quite well known for being versatile. When things aren't working, he changes them up. When they're not working again, he changes them up again. With someone like De Boer, he's a bit like someone like Martinez. He sticks completely with the philosophy, with the principle of what he's doing. And that, for a club like Everton, I don't know, you might be able to pull that off with a club like United. But I don't think you can pull that off with a club like Everton.
I could see him going back to the Dutch League and bringing in a number of players now. I could see like that Janssen that's playing for AZ Alkmaar, who scored ridiculous amount of goals this year, replacing Lukaku and a few others from the Dutch League coming over.
I'll put it this way. I just think if his name was Frank Boris or whatever, no one would give a shit. No one would give a flying shit about this guy. He's got a fancy foreign name with fancy foreign credentials, and clubs like Everton these days, they're doing a bit like what Tottenham did a few years ago. Just appoint a fancy foreign Italian manager. Oh dear. It's ridiculous. Appoint someone who knows the club, who knows what to do at that club, and who is actually going to be building on the strengths he left in before and the weaknesses they've got at the moment. That is not Frank de Boer.
I agree. I agree with Shane completely. I reckon Moyes would get Everton to a top 4 finish.
There's reportedly Big Duncan Ferguson's going to take over at the weekend.
Wait. Hope he punches someone.
Do you reckon they've sacked the manager because they don't want to risk losing their key players, or do you reckon the key players will also leave in the summer? If we're talking of, say, Lukaku, Barkley and Stones, have they, sacrificed Martinez to try and keep those 3, or is it too late?
I think if they're going to go, they're going to go. I don't think they can get in any manager that's that good that they can keep those players by saying, look, we got in Guardiola. It's good times from here on out. I don't think there's anyone available for Everton to go and get who will do that. maybe Moyes, because some of the players will know him, will want to stay on and see what's going to happen. Maybe. I wouldn't necessarily bet on that. But I think they've gotten rid of him because they wanted that last game of the season to not have a clear overhang into the next season. They wanted to cut it off before the season's over, so it's almost like stopping the rot.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Right, other news this week. Supposedly the England final Euro 16 squad has been leaked. Do you need me to read it out? Or?
Yeah, read it out.
I'd say Nate. Yeah, go on.
Right, so the goalkeepers are Hart, Heaton, Forster. In defence you've got Bertram, Cahill, Klein, Jagielka, Luke Shaw, Smalling and Stones. Midfield, Dele Alli, Barkley, Eric Dier, Drinkwater, Henderson, Lallana, Milner, Sterling and Wilshere. And up front it's Kane, Rooney, Sturridge and Vardy. So they wouldn't have had Welbeck in there, even though he wouldn't be there. This was released before he got injured the weekend, so he weren't planning to take up Welbeck.
Yeah, correct. In my opinion, I think it's pretty correct. The only one I was thinking about making is maybe Mark Noble for Jack Wilshere, based on this season's football.
I think the biggest omission's surely got
season.
Oh, sorry. I think the biggest omission's got to be Danny Rose not in for Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw's not played a minute of. Well, he's been
It's such a joke. It's such a joke. Danny Rose must be sitting there going, "The hell did I do wrong? When did I insult, Hodgson's wife? What did I genuinely do? I've been outstanding all bloody season. One of the best left backs in the league. PFA Player of the Year. He's in the Team of the Year, isn't he? Left back. What the hell is this? Luke Shaw. Maybe he's the better prospect long term, but he's been injured with a broken leg all season. That's a joke. That is. That's a joke.
And standby is quite interesting. They've got John Ruddy, Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, Mark Albrighton, Fabian Delph, Mark Noble, Andy Carroll, and Jermaine Defoe.
Jermaine Defoe, is it all? Jermaine Defoe. Yeah, and I think that's pretty correct. To be honest, I can't really think of anyone else who could be on the standby list. Defoe and Carroll, it's I think you could
only one in our squad. Then.
Well,
so if I would happily, I tell you what, Defoe's in the squad, I wouldn't actually moan. To be honest, he's not a bad option to bring off the bench, is he?
I'm actually not too happy with this squad as a whole, mainly because I think there's a lot of very safe picks. I'll put it this way, you've obviously got Shaw, and again, it's a big name, safe pick. Rose definitely should have been in there. Jagielka, when has he ever done it in an England shirt? I would have rather we'd taken Walker. I don't think we're going to need 4 centre-backs. Take Carl Walker, he's another one who's had a great season. Noble in for Henderson, because again, Henderson's been injured all season, and Noble's been outstanding this season. Albrighton for Wilshere, because I hate Wilshere and I've made that very public. And also, Albrighton, you've got a different option. We've got a lot of very samey midfielders in there. I'd drop Rooney into midfield, because let's face it, he's not going to play up front. We all know he isn't, so let's stop pretending he's a striker for this tournament. So drop Rooney into midfield, take Lallana out and bring in Andy Carroll, because again, you get a different option. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, we could have it being on a big man's pinballs long.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can knock it as much as you want, but look how effective it's been for West Ham this season when they haven't had any other options. They absolutely smashed United at the weekend with the high ball. It works. Leicester won the league during it.
It works for everything. Big lad forward. If you need to get a goal with 15 minutes to go, there's no point mucking around with it. Get it forward, ping it long, big man, head it on, and or even just cause chaos from corners and stuff.
We've got too many safe, samey options. That's what I don't like about this squad.
I think actually Defoe. Not enough. I think Defoe's I think he's deserved it on current form.
Yeah, him or Andy Carroll. It would have been up to either of them two.
Okay, so first up, we're going to have Chris giving his clues to Dan, and then we're going to have Nick giving his to Shane.
Okay.
So, are you all ready?
Did that just sound slightly dirty to anyone else?
I don't want to be the giver or a sleeper.
Yeah, do you prefer to take it?
Nice.
Right, are you ready, Chris?
Yep.
You ready, Dan?
I'm ready.
Okay, on your marks, get set, go.
Current Spurs striker.
Harry Kane.
Yep. French Principality.
Say that again.
French Principality to play in red.
Oh, Monaco.
Yeah. It's the bit of the goal. It's the top.
Stanchion.
No.
Crossbar.
prospect. Yeah. Championship champions.
Burnley.
West Ham owner, not David Gold, the other one.
David Sullivan.
Yeah. It's a channel the football on.
Sky Sports.
Southampton manager.
Ronald Koeman.
Yeah, it's a Yorkshire club that's not United.
Leeds.
Not United.
Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday.
Stop. Yeah, I'll give you that one just in time. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. Solid.
Got you.
Solid. Take that.
I don't know who the next person is.
Tell you what, Nick, I'm just going to say this now. I've looked at my list of things. We're not going to get bloody any.
Describe them well. I don't want another idiot describing them to me.
Well, I'm going to make a rule, a judge decision on the last one though, and I'm going to knock you half a point down, Chris and Dan, because you did say David as part of the. I know you said David Gold, but you did give away half the name for David Sullivan.
Oh,
yeah, good decision,
You're not allowed to say any part of it.
Oh,
right.
Good decision,
That's a new
referee.
ruling then. Okay.
So 7.5, I'll give you for that.
Right.
I like that referee. Good refereeing.
Right. So Shane and Nick, are you ready?
Who's
Yep.
describing?
Do you want to go first, Shane?
Oh, go for it. Might as well get the worst out of the way.
Okay. On your marks, get set, go.
Liverpool striker always injured.
Danny Sturridge.
Spanish club are in the Europa League final.
Seville.
What you wear around your legs, not socks, not boots for football.
Shorts.
No, legs, lower legs.
Shin pads.
Yeah. Club that just got relegated called Magpies, black and white.
Newcastle.
West Ham's ground.
Upton Park, Bowling Ground.
Portuguese midfielder just signed for Bayern.
Fuck. I don't know. Pass.
The manager we were talking about earlier going to Everton.
David Moyes.
Other one.
Frank de Boer.
Yep. Sky Sports Soccer Saturday. What comes the next day?
Goals on Sunday.
After that.
Super Sunday.
Yep. Manager of Valencia, former manager.
Gary Neville.
The club that's in the playoffs alongside you.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Other one.
The Hull.
Yeah. Italian club plays in. Oh, I can't say
Stop.
that.
Shit a brick.
Next
Well,
one.
I think you did very well there. Let's top them up.
The next one would. I was about to say Italian club plays in Roma.
You didn't get Renato Sanchez.
No,
so
we
you
missed
got
that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, sorry, but I was
6,
picked the
7,
player.
8, 9. You got 9.
Oh, I know. I was thinking I was going to be crap. I didn't think you'd get Sevilla. I just didn't think you were that cultured, Nick.
Hey!
Then again, I completely ballsed up explaining shin fans, so I can't talk.
Right, shall we come back to the second round in a bit?
Yeah.
Still anyone's game. Still anyone's game.
was that 7.5 to 9, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can turn this around, Chris. Don't worry.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right, so there was great scenes at the King Power Stadium the weekend.
Hooray!
Did anyone get slightly emotional? Or not?
Yeah, I was watching at a pub in London after the Brighton game, so it made me more upset that we didn't go up.
Yeah.
I wasn't emotional, but I'd say I was pretty damn pleased. It was very nice to see some fans enjoying that as much as they were, especially fans who are more, they were more likely at the start of the season to just be cheering, not getting relegated. So I think that it was quite a clearly special moment. And just as a football fan in general, I could appreciate that.
Well, it's the best sporting thing of all. It's the best moment ever in football history since 1966 World Cup. Would you say?
I'd say if you're a Leicester fan, it is the single best moment in football history. I'd say it's certainly up there.
No, I think it is.
In terms of general football, from an English fan's perspective, I'd say it's definitely top 3 probably.
Especially 5,000 to 1 football these days. Signing nobody. I mean, Jeff Stelling's review is absolutely spot on. Signing, I don't know. I don't know by heart, but his review, I'd recommend checking it out because it's brilliant.
I think the only thing that comes really close to it is Nottingham Forest's achievements in the late 70s and early 80s with the back-to-back European Cups. But I think even that, I think Leicester's...
I think that's even better. I mean, I wasn't really alive then, but...
I would say Leicester's is bigger than Nottingham Forest, because Nottingham Forest, you think back to at the time...
They were big clubs still.
Well, yeah, they were a big club. They had the world record transfer at the time.
And it was a much less competitive league. I mean, it was much more even.
You have to win the league to get into the European Cup, so you have to be a good team to even qualify for the European Cup.
Well, and the European Cup itself was an easier trophy to win than the Champions League is nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, there's only, 5 rounds, including the final back then, so, it wasn't like you don't have to sort of play a Luxembourg team and then a Russian side and whatnot, so it wasn't really like a huge test like the sort of campaign you get now, so, I mean, obviously Leicester's dwarfs Forest, but I think that's the only comparable you could really sort of think of in the last 30, 35 years or so, but credit to Leicester, they've fully deserved it, haven't they, and, great for the fans on Saturday.
Well, like through the season, how many weeks did we go by and it's like, yeah, well done, Leicester. You're doing well, still being in that top 4. If you drop out and you're still in the European place, you've done well. And then it got a few more weeks, and it's like, hey, they might actually still get into the Champions League spot here. What's going on? And the weeks went on, and it's like they're still hanging on there.
To be fair, that was mostly you, Richard. I was saying quite early on, I reckon they could do it. It's the one thing I bloody got right. I said they were going down. I said they were going down at the start of the season, but I turned quickly.
No, I'm not gonna lie. If you go back to the first podcast that we did of the season, you would catch me saying Ranieri would be the first manager sacked. Leicester probably in 20th. So how wrong was I?
Who didn't? Yeah, I predicted that as well right at the start.
No, I definitely predicted that. I've been bragging about it for the wrong reasons.
I think everybody thought at the beginning of the season that Ranieri was an odd choice of manager to have gone for, especially after they got rid of Pearce, and everybody thought they were nailed on for going down.
We were all wrong, isn't it brilliant?
That's why football is the best game on the planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed. Absolutely.
Also, Anthony put a poll up on Twitter asking, can Leicester keep hold of their stars? And
this is after last week when myself and Shane had a bit of a disagreement over it, isn't it?
So, yeah, will Mahrez and Kante stay at the club next season? 36% said yeah. 17% said just Mahrez. 4% said Kante, and 43% said both will go. So
Let's also not forget the majority of the listeners to the show are United fans. They're going to agree with you, Richard.
Have we ever polled to find out what club our listeners support?
Well, this show is so biased, I don't think we'd bloody need to. We've got 3 United fans on most times.
Club scout Steve Walsh said that they don't want to bring in any superstars next season. The players have asked him. So what level of players do you think they will be looking at to bring in?
They will need a bigger squad. I think players like the one that they signed Damari Gray and the players like that, really.
Well, let me put it this way: I wouldn't be shocked if I'm not saying they would sign him, but if they went for a player like Ross Barkley, someone who's not yet a superstar, but could one day end up being of that caliber, because they're not going to go for the really, really big names. They're going to go for the names that are either just below that, or the names that are potentially going to go up there. I don't see them going for, trying to sign, Juventus players or anything like that. But I do think they'll be able to, players like, clubs like us, Southampton, they could go and put bids in for our better players. I reckon they could get them. So that's the kind of targets I think they'll be going for.
The worry
I looking at play for Chelsea and City, the fringe players who may want to leave the club because of the new managers to bring in some Champions League experience.
I think Fabian Delph would be a pretty good signing, but
I was thinking more like Cahill and possibly like Benteke, who's a proven goal scorer. Yeah. Wasn't a good season.
Those are all they're good players, but they're not superstars in their own right. No one's going to say Gary Cahill's a global superstar, are they? It doesn't even sound right as a sentence. It doesn't even work as a sentence. Gary Cahill, global superstar, and I think that is the kind of player they can go for. But let's not forget that's kind of what they made their name with doing this year. Players who are just below that certain level that they're believed to be at, who do that little bit better. And I don't think that's a bad strategy, because the one thing they really don't want to do...
like Townsend.
Oh yeah, but one thing they don't want to do is break up that great team spirit they've got. And if they go out there and they sign some prima donnas, it could all go badly quite quickly. So I think it's the right kind of idea.
To a certain degree, do Leicester sort of even know who to buy? Because they've won the league, and they must think, well, what now? Because, where do we go from here for next season? Because, you know, it flew so much under the radar this season that players like Kante, let's be honest, no one really heard of him before the start of the season. So, do they try and adopt that approach again, or is that too simplistic because that's sort of going to be hard to repeat? And then if you try and buy someone big, you ruin the harmony of the squad perhaps, and then it's like, how do they target their transfer strategy in the summer now that they're going to be defending the Premier League title? It's almost like, where do you start, really?
Well, I think they kind of have the advantage, as you say, it's a total shot in the dark, but that's the thing, no one knows how the hell it's going to turn out. It's never happened before. We have no idea how this could possibly turn out. A club like that becoming so suddenly a big club, or at least competing at that level, we have no idea what's going to happen. They could sign anyone. It's just such an open shot in the dark that you really... It's a bit like anyone who realistically said they predicted this at the start of the season. No, you bloody didn't. No one can possibly know how it's going to turn out. It's so unknown. It's so unpredictable. It's never happened even remotely before. There's nothing to base this off of. There's nothing to say, oh, well, this club did this. We really can't know how it's going to turn out, and that's terrible for anyone trying to, like, guess or do punditry or podcasting or anything, because we just don't have a lot to say.
The big thing for them, though, would be the wage cap. You know, can they attract a player if their wage cap at the moment, the highest paid player is on 80 grand?
Oh, that'll
Who's
go
that?
up.
That's Vardy.
That'll go up. Those players are going to get bigger wages.
Marvez is on 55 at the moment.
Yeah, no, that does sound about right. I remember when, for Southampton, when we first broke our championship side, wage budget, we finally went above 35 grand, and I think that was for Jay Rodriguez. And so it's even quite high for the lower end clubs. I think that all of their wages are going to go up. Anyone they can get to sign a new contract, they're going to be in 100 grand plus a week. So I don't think they'll have a problem with that. It's the situation, they aren't going to be able to sign the big name players, and they probably won't want to. It's whether or not they can beat the other clubs like Southampton, Everton, maybe even Tottenham, because I still don't think they're at that calibre to attract the biggest players yet. Whether or not they can nick them from those clubs or go under the radar and sign a player no one really thought of. That's what Leicester's challenge is.
Apparently, Jeffrey Schlupp is also on 80 grand a week.
God damn.
Jeffrey Schlupp? I'll rate him, though.
But you got players like Schmeichel, who are only on 35.
Tell you what, we can laugh at Jeffrey Schlupp earning 80 grand a week, but he's just won a Premier League winners medal. When was the last time Rooney on 300 grand a week did anything? It's all bloody relative in football, isn't it?
Yeah, I just worry a lot of players there that their agents will be pushing for a lot more money. And thinking how many of them could easily double it or treble it looking elsewhere.
I do think, in terms of players leaving, it's going to be a bit of a siege mentality in terms of no one's going to want to be the first over the line. And when it comes to like having dickhead agents going around doing all this shit, no one's going to want to be the first one to say, yeah, that was me. That was me doing that. It's going to be, because they have that team spirit rather than a team of individuals. I think it's going to be, like I said, I just don't think anyone's going to want to be the first one to go and do that. So the longer they can maintain that, the better they'll be.
I will be able to be a couple of them look to move on.
Okay, shall we go for the second round of the quiz? Third time.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you then.
Yeah.
So first up, should we swap it round this time and have Nick going first?
Yeah.
Why not?
Tell you what, Nick, this is my weakness. Guessing.
You put this in a cereal. Paper, a spoon, a ghost.
What?
Right, are you both ready?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay, on your marks, get set.
Yeah,
on,
I'm
Nick.
ready now. I'm ready.
On your marks, get set, go.
Arsenal striker out for 9 months.
Danny Welbeck.
Yep. Man City signed Kevin De Bruyne from.
Wolfsburg.
The referee wants to announce that it's half-time or full-time or a free kick. He uses a...
Whistle.
They've just been relegated from the Premiership yesterday. They wear orange, yellow.
Norwich.
Yeah. West Ham are moving there next season.
Olympic Stadium.
Yep. Bayern Munich just signed from Dortmund. Who?
Mats Hummels.
Yep. We talked about him earlier going to Everton.
David Moyes.
Yep. Not Sky Sports, but...
BT Sports.
Yep. Son of Harry Redknapp. No, sorry.
Oh,
Jamie Redknapp. Jamie Redknapp.
Other championship club in the playoff race.
Sheffield Wednesday. Derby. Hull.
No.
Brighton.
Yep, Derby. Oh crap. The Italian club with an S.
Sampdoria.
Yep. I want to go on the piss with.
I don't know.
I want to go on the piss with.
I don't know this song.
Former Northern Ireland player.
Time over.
I don't know that song.
Right, I'm deducting a few points to you there, Nick.
Well, it was only one because Jamie read that.
No, he said sports.
Yeah, he said sports for... It's not Sky
come on.
Sports, it's...
Oh shit.
I would have still got it if it was It's Not Sky.
and I'm not having you using letters.
Oh, come on. How many Italian clubs begin with S? That was a good one. Sampdoria, first go. I'm not having that.
Fasula?
You're just trying to screw me over all the bloody time.
That one's still half a point. That one's still half a point. 'Cause that was fucking
Yeah,
impressive.
you can have half a point for Sampdoria and
Half a point for Sky
for BT.
All right.
And none for Joe
You're definitely not having anything with the red now.
That was such a
cancelled it.
giveaway.
To be fair, I cancelled it. I said no, we're not having that.
Such a giveaway.
7.
How many did we get? How many did we get?
So altogether, with deductions, you ended up with 9.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, you
Plus
got Welbeck,
9.
Wolfsburg,
8.
Whistle. How long you took on Whistle? You just say the referee blows it.
Yeah. That could have... Yeah. I would have just shouted Volino.
I bet you love that.
Nick, we've absolutely smashed it.
We're on 18 altogether, so I believe they need quite a few.
11
Yeah.
10 or 11.
No pressure, guys.
They'll fuck this up, don't worry.
Okay, you two ready?
Might as well,
Yeah,
we might as well
ready.
give it to us now.
Okay, on your marks, get set, go.
West Ham, tall striker.
Andy Carroll.
Gary Neville's Magic Club.
Sorry?
Ex-manager Gary Neville.
Ex-manager of Gary Neville.
No, Gary Neville's the former manager of...
Valencia.
Yep, in a cup game if it's a draw.
Replay.
No,
Penalties.
relegated from the Premier League, bottom.
Aston Villa.
West Ham-based football film with Elijah Wood.
Oh, I watched it. I can't remember. Next one.
French striker just signed for Dortmund today.
Pass. I'm not ready. I've been in hospital.
Sacked Everton manager.
Roberto Martinez.
Gary Lineker presents it.
Match of the day.
Man United and Ireland captain, former.
Okay, stop.
Yep.
Oh, that was painful.
Green Street, man. It's Green Street.
Something Street. I couldn't think of what it was.
You didn't get extra time. You said penalties instead.
Was it
There was
Dembele,
1,
the
2.
striker, the Dortmund striker?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he said extra time in the end, though, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that bit.
Yeah.
Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in total.
I've ruined
Yeah,
it.
Usman Dembele was the guy that Dortmund have just bought. That was about it.
Fulham striker.
No, he's the one that
FC
played
Rennes.
for Rennes, yeah.
Was there?
French Young Player of the Year. So this week, it's Dan's lost his crown. Shane's finally come good at this game.
Quite
Yay.
controversially, though. You've only given me 13 answers. Not like
You didn't need them, did you?
No, no.
We'd have been here till about another 3 minutes to get to the end of them.
Well, I'm just saying, good thing we didn't, I would have run out, so it's could have been a bit of scandal there, but I'll allow the crown to be held by someone else this week. I'm having it back next. So.
Alright, so congratulations, Nick and Shane. Then the final part today, I want to discuss the relegated clubs. Who do you think's got the best chance of coming back up next season?
None of them.
Start.
I want both of them to go down. No, not Burnley, actually. I want Middlesbrough to go back down.
No, it's the relegated clubs.
Oh, sorry.
Who's got the best chance of coming up? So.
None of them.
I think Norwich. I think they've got a settled side. Alex Neil will probably stay. They've got a lot of good Championship players. So I'd say Norwich are probably in the best shape to come. Plus I suspect they'll probably make a few tweaks over the summer as well. So, whereas I think the other two clubs, Newcastle, they need masses of changes, and they'll probably obviously need they'll almost certainly need new Villa will need a new manager, and 99% sure Newcastle will as well. So I think Norwich will be in the best place out of the three.
I disagree.
Yeah, I agree on that.
No.
I said on the forum this week that Norwich came up with Championship level players. They're going back down with Championship level players, so they don't really need a turnaround in the players there. Nobody's particularly going to be rushing in to buy to buy Norwich players over the summer, are they?
I think that's been linked to a few clubs though.
I don't think it's the players that's going to be the problem. I think it's the way they got relegated this season. I was quite harsh last week. I said they've sleepwalked into a relegation and they fully deserve it for doing absolutely nothing in the Premier League. And I think genuinely these players didn't realise they were going to get relegated until about 3 matches ago. I genuinely don't think they had any clue that things were that bad at that club. I think they just looked at the table all of a sudden and went, shit, the games we've got versus the games they've got, crap. But they didn't really fight for it. They did that last game, they gave it a bit of an effort, but then it was already too late, wasn't it? It was already basically secured that they were going down.
I just don't think they're of quality, good enough quality for the Premier League.
I disagree because, okay, let's think about it. Stephen Naismith, Nathan Redmond, who's that? Russell Martin, John Ruddy. I could be naming West Brom players here. I could be naming West Brom players. I could be naming any of those clubs in that sort of area. I could be naming their players.
I don't know how West Brom have stayed in the Premier League for so long.
But this is the thing. They're not that bad. Then, granted, at the start of the season, you'd have said, they're favourites to go down. But as this season progressed, they're clearly on the same kind of par as the likes of Bournemouth, West Brom, those types of clubs who can do just about enough to avoid relegation. And they just absolutely threw it away. And there was no good reason. Newcastle, there's a good reason they went down, because things are absolutely shit-faced behind the scenes. There's a good reason Villa went down, because things are crap behind the scenes, they had a crap manager, and they have a crap squad. It's really obvious why they went down. Why did Norwich go down? What's the reason they went down? Because if you just say bad players, or a bad manager or something, I disagree, because that was worse in the Premier League this year.
Yeah,
that was much worse.
I think you've actually got a really good point. They're in quite a good place as well, especially after they beat Newcastle. It was sort of like, I think everyone was saying that it would take something spectacular for them to go down, and it has. I think it was that defeat against Sunderland, wasn't it? I think that just killed morale completely, and not only that, it was sort of that was a classic six-pointer, because not only did it kill Norwich's morale, not only did it give Sunderland 3 points, but it also gave Sunderland a lot of confidence, and obviously it gave Norwich no points.
That's the thing, isn't it? It was literally like two clubs' trajectories moving opposite directions after that game,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I just
think
sorry.
Norwich have made too many mistakes at the back this season. Like the defeat against Man United last Saturday was testament to sort of summed up the kind of defeats they've had. Almost perfect example would be losing to Liverpool 5-4 at home, and you think, well, poor game management. If they sort of see that out and not concede 2 injury time goals, that's an extra 2 points in the bag. 3 points in the bag, and you just think too many little things like that have gone against them this season. And I think they're going to have to start quite quickly next season. I think Alex Neil might be in a bit of trouble. If it's say like 10, 12 games in, they're not in the sort of top 3-4 places. I think he might be for the chop, because I think
they're pretty well. I wouldn't be. I reckon they'll be well up there for next season, especially if Naismith in the Championship team. I think they'll be. I wouldn't be surprised they win the whole thing.
I just think morale's going to be so much in the ground, because if you're a relegated side, when you're going to end up coming with some kind of mentality, and a lot of it's going to be, here's the reason we went down. This is what happened. This is what went wrong. Those Norwich players, the Norwich management, they're not going to be able to have a reason for why they went down. They won't be able to know, because there is no reason they went down.
Well, they're just not good enough, are they? Like I said, they just made too many mistakes.
They're not any worse than anyone else. I think if they're getting together and they're saying,
worse than everybody else, they've gone down.
Yeah, I know that, but they're technically speaking, from the management, the players, all of that sort, and even in terms of the boardroom, in terms of not being that unstable, they are a lot better placed than some of the other clubs in the Premier League. So when they're looking at it, they're going to say there is no good reason why we got relegated, and that's when they're going to have to start asking some serious questions about themselves, and that's a bad position to be in. And I think that mentality is going to be in the ground for next season.
Sorry, I think the board have done it on the cheap, to be honest. I think they've almost wasted the opportunity of being in the Premier League this season, because they didn't really have a proper crack in January buying players. They may have bought Stephen Naismith for, $8.5 million, but he's not pulled up any trees since signing. I think he had a decent start to the Norwich career, but he's been on the bench for the last few games. He's not even sort of played. So I think they've had they've been in the Premier League, but I think Norwich have tried to do it on the cheap and thought, well, we're not going to risk it too much. And I think they're happy for the sort of TV money and parachute payments to come with it, to be honest.
If I was a Norwich fan, I'd just be so livid because there's been such a delayed reaction to this relegation. And you can say, yeah, there's lots of little reasons why Norwich are going down, but when it's relegation, there's always a big reason, and there is none for that club. I'd just be looking at it and just going, how the hell did we mess this up? How did we balls this up so badly? This shouldn't have been happening to us. It does genuinely piss me off, because it is just a case of everyone being complacent at that club, thinking, oh, we're safe.
I think, yeah, complacency is the key word there. I think if they're just a little bit better in defence, they just scored a little bit more, take a few more chances this season, and just a little bit of game management. It's every little department, it's just been a little sort of notch under, and they've just taken it for granted, and sort of, like you say, they'll sort of look back and think, well, how on earth are we playing in the second tier and not someone like Bournemouth or West Brom? So, opportunity missed for Norwich.
Where do you think Aston Villa rank in the all-time worst Premier League teams?
Second to Derby.
No, Derby were just...
Rubbish.
I'd say, expectation-wise, worse than Derby. Because Derby at the time, nobody...
Derby Day wasn't it?
Well, like, Aston Villa spent money last summer. They brought in a couple of what were thought were fairly decent players, and they've just been abysmal from start to finish of the season. There's no redeeming point of the season at all for them. So I'd say they're, from expectations, worse than what Derby did.
Also, for the complete lack of control they had over their own players over the campaign. It was just like controversy after controversy every single week. A new story in the Mirror. This player's on drugs. Now this player's on drugs. Now this player's having sex with prostitutes in Dubai. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. Get some control over your players.
Yeah, they are a shambles of a club right now.
Yeah, it's dreadful. I wouldn't be shocked if they went down again. Wouldn't be shocked at all.
So I did the poll.
Was that Villa?
Yeah.
Because you look at their squad, and what we've said about before with the Norwich ones, there's a few players in there that you thought beforehand were decent players. We were all on about Jack Grealish looking fairly good as a player, even though he does stupid things with his shin pads.
You're called up to be on the 21s today.
Yeah, there's a few all right players amongst them, and they were just awful.
I think the key game for Villa, if you can cast your mind back as far as September, is when they lost to Leicester after being 2-0 up, and Leicester come back and won 3-2. I think that even that early into the season, you almost sort of knew the writing was on the wall. Then I just think it's just summed up their season in one game, and then it's amazing how sort of Leicester sort of moved on from that, and you sort of thought, well, I think it almost began their sort of fight and challenge, and Villa have had absolutely nothing like that this season.
So I did do a Twitter poll about this as well, and our listeners completely disagree with you. 47% of them think Newcastle United will have the best chance of coming back.
Oh, God, no. I look at people who are saying that are probably people who are looking at that team on FIFA and going, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, Musa Sissoko, he's pretty good. He'll be great in the Championship, won't he? No, he won't be. He'll be absolute tosh in the Championship because he won't give a shit. A lot of those players will not care even the slightest and will just want to leave. And they won't be able to leave because they're not going to get big enough offers for crap players, and they won't be able to get them off the wage bill. They've got some decent players there. They've got that Armstrong, who looks like a good prospect. I think it's Lascelles, if I'm pronouncing that right. He looks good. And they need to go out and, Lascelles. They need to go out and sign players a bit more like that, fighters. People who are really going to give it to them. 90 minutes, 46 games in that season, because they do not have they don't have players who can do it for 38 games in the season. They do not have players who care enough 38 games in the season. They need to go out and find some of these fighters. If I was them, first player I'd go and try and sign is Ryan Mason from Tottenham. Because he's on the fringes there.
I think he'll go down.
Yeah, he's too good for the Championship though, mate.
Probably a little bit, but I'd have a go at that. I'd have a go at players who are going to be willing to fight.
Sorry, he won't. There's no way he's going.
He's not going to go to Newcastle. Absolutely no chance.
I think he should stick it out at Tottenham, to be honest.
Hey, I didn't say that they'd get him. I said they should have a go for him.
No.
I think he's going to go to Bournemouth, I read, for about 10 million, which is, I think he'll do very well there, but I think if Spurs needs to improve anywhere next season, it will be midfield, and I think, unfortunately for Mason, he'll be one of the people showing the exit door, because I think he's sort of starting to become surplus to requirements now.
I'll tell you what, if Mason goes to Bournemouth, go for Harry Arter. I know these are players who are Premiership players, but they're going to need players with fight in them. they're going to need players who know how to scrap properly and who have that bit of
I'm
quality.
waiting for you to say Dale Stevens.
They need those players, and they have maybe, I don't know, 2 of those players in that squad. Jack Colback is crap. I'm sorry. He might be passionate, but he's crap. So I don't think you're getting much from him. That Newcastle squad is really good on the face of it, but you put that into a championship division, it's not going to do anything. It's too much luxury. It's too much extravagance.
But saying that, they did bounce back straight away the last time they got relegated, didn't they? So
Yeah, but it wasn't quite the same back then. Back then it was bigger problems behind the scenes. I think this year, as much as they can complain about Mike Ashley, it's the players and the management that did it this year. And they've got a lot of players who are not there playing for that club properly. That's the problem. And that will kill you in the championship. That will put you down again for a second season. So I think they really need to check that.
Can you see all the fancy French players want to stay on?
Oh, no chance.
Does a lot of it come down to ultimately who will be in charge of Newcastle next season? Because is it fair to assume that Rafa Benitez won't be there, and then whoever comes in is probably going to have to wield the axe, and then that is going to shape a new squad?
Yeah, but they need a Nigel Pearson.
Ideas. And I think, dare I say, I think Newcastle need an identity of some sort, because they sort of been coasting along for the last even sort of decade where they haven't really had like an ethos or anything. It's been sort of change after change after change, isn't it? And I think the mentality of the club, it's just gone, isn't it? I think they need someone to take them back to basics. Be it Nigel Pearson, it might not be sort of particularly pretty football, but at least it'd be something a bit more pragmatic and something that can...
That's the problem with Newcastle, though, is that this is a bit sort of rich coming from a Man United fan. But they think they're a bigger club than they are, and that they have to expect attractive football. You know, they got rid of a manager like Sam Allardyce because he wouldn't play attractive football. And you need a manager like Sam Allardyce, which has come back to bite them in the arse royally by keeping Sunderland up.
I think there's a point between both of them. I completely agree with what Dan said. I think they became a West Brom in the sense that they were a club that were just happy to be around, be turning up to the Premier League every week. And they do need some kind of identity, or they need to regain an identity. But if you're going to do that, that's not the year you just got relegated. The year you just got relegated is you clear the decks and you sort things out, because things can go from bad to worse so quickly. And I do think Nigel Pearson will be the best appointment, because I think he's someone who will not be afraid to wield the axe, will not be afraid to stand up to the people in the director's box. You know, that might not be great for him, but I think you're going to need someone who's going to really be able to scare those players into actually playing. And I worry about them, because I don't think they're going to get that kind of manager. I think they're going to get someone fancy with a foreign name who's maybe not managed before at that level, and it's just not going to... It's going to go bad to worse. I do worry about Newcastle, and I like Newcastle as a club, so it's very worrying times.
No, I think they'll go with somebody that knows the English leagues. I actually think they'll go for Moyes.
What about Brendan Rodgers?
Would either of those players go down to the Championship? Either as managers,
I think Moyes would, because he's been there before. I think he needs to kick-start his career again.
I think Moyes will be thinking he's better than that at this stage.
I think Brendan would. I don't think Moyes would.
Yeah, I think Moyes, like Richard says, I think he needs a solid job for a few years, isn't it? And I think Newcastle could be they could be a good fit for each other, couldn't they? Moyes could sort of get Newcastle back on their feet, and then likewise sort of get his confidence back as a manager. Because let's be honest, he's sort of, after Sociedad, he's sort of just languishing about being linked with these jobs, but you never really think he's actually going to be appointed one of them. So I think they could help each other out. It wouldn't be the sort of worst appointment in the world, would it?
Oh, I think it'll be a very good appointment. I just don't think Moyes will be willing to drop down to the Championship. I think he'll be waiting around for a Premier League job to come up. I think he'll feel like after Man United, he's good enough for that. Especially after Everton.
I think
would be a great appointment.
Yes, I also did a poll on who do he thinks had the best chance of staying up, Burnley or Boro. 10% went for Burnley, 60% went for Boro.
What?
9% said they'll both survive, and 21 said they'll both get relegated. So, do you want to quickly, what do you think about it, Nick?
Yeah, I think Borough and Burnley, they'll do alright. I think it depends. We'll see with Bournemouth this year, they stayed up. But they need to invest. I mean, Burnley, whilst they've got a good squad in the Championship, if they don't invest, they'll probably come back straight back down. And to be fair, same for Borough as well. But Borough, I mean, they've literally gone up by the... I mean, we won't get into a debate about this. It's more than 72. They've only gone up by the skin of their teeth, really. So, they will have to invest, and the fingers crossed they'll come back down. And I think hopefully the other one will be Brighton.
I think Burnley will be very much fine. I think they've got a more experienced side this time, and I think unlike last time, they've learned that you do have to compromise a little bit on your ethos, your philosophy. They played very attacking football last time, and I think they've clearly balanced out a little bit more. And they're going to have the money. They're going to have the money to invest, because every Premier League's going to have the money to invest. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, I don't think they're that particularly well run in terms of from management down, because they seem to never really be settled on a manager, even when they're doing well. And I think that kind of uncertainty is always hanging over that club. And I think, especially in a year where they're going to be fighting relegation, that will be doing no good whatsoever.
Burnley
Newcastle
stay up.
players.
I really like. Yeah, the manager there at Burnley just seems such a great bloke. And I like the team. I like the whole situation there. Middlesbrough, I wouldn't care less if they quickly bounce back down to the Championship next season.
Their fans have been very cocky over Twitter.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? There we go.
Race for the top 4?
It's pretty much over.
Is it still a race to be run, or is it pretty much done? Right.
It's basically hoping City trip over and break their ankle.
Basically, you're asking City to lose at Swansea, which is never going to happen. And then if
I don't know, actually, because Swansea have suddenly come into a bit of form late in the season.
And so after Swansea beat City, then United will probably go and draw 0-0 with Bournemouth.
I could quite easily see that.
I said it to my mates at work. I was like, I can actually see that happening. Swansea winning like 1-0 or something, and then United just don't score. They don't even take a risk, probably.
Do you not think West Ham will be kicking themselves for losing to Swansea on Saturday? Because
they will.
Neither of the Manchester sides deserve that top 4 spot, to be honest. Both of them have been gash, haven't they?
Yeah. It should have gone to Southampton. What was that? Oh, no one said that.
Well, Southampton can still get top 6, can't they? If West Ham
we need West Ham to lose or draw, I think.
But then again, I suppose you could rely on United winning the cup. So, I mean, it
but
looks more than likely.
I don't want United to win the cup.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's a sort of dichotomy that do you want United to win the cup so you get into Europe, or do you even want to be in the Europa League next season?
I really want to be.
started cold this season because of that, really, didn't you? So
I don't think it was because of that. I think I would really like for us to be in the Europa League next season. I think it's more competitive than it's ever been. And I think we did take it a little bit for granted at the start of last season. And I think the reason we started so poorly was because we went out of the Europa League. Because we didn't take it seriously enough, and that kind of dented morale. So I'd like to see us actually give it a proper go. West Ham are away to Stoke, so I can see them losing or drawing, and then if we win, our goal difference will be higher. So that means we could get into that spot. And I really hope we do, because I don't want us to have to support Man United for the FA Cup final against the underdog. That's so tragic.
Here's a quick question before we all finish then. Does the Europa League look more of an attractive option, do you think, from next season, if Liverpool go on to win it? Is it spurring other teams on to do well in it now?
In the Premier League, yeah, because it shows that big Premier League clubs are willing to take it seriously. Chelsea did it before, but it kind of had the overhang of not being something that would get you into the Champions League. And I think now it is a bigger competition. And if Liverpool go on and win it, even if they don't and they've reached a final when they're really disappointed after not winning it, it will still be viewed as a bigger competition than it was before.
Do you think Liverpool are going to be going sort of almost Europa League victory or bust in terms of Europe? Because they'll think, if we perhaps don't get in through a league qualification position, is it the worst thing in the world for them? Because then they can have a proper crack at the top 4 next season with only 1 game a week and all that? Or
no,
like if they were
Jurgen Klopp, he's a proper European manager, isn't he? He wants Champions League.
What I'm saying is, like, will they be happy with not getting the Europa League if they were to, say, finish 8th and then lose the Europa League final? Is that okay, or will they be then disappointed that there's no European football from next season? Because ultimately, do they sort of throw the West Brom game on Sunday with the full focus on the Europa League final, or do they still give that a crack on Sunday to try and get a top 6 finish as a backup sort of safety net of the Europa League? So there's a few options for Liverpool, really, isn't there? But I guess, well, what are they going to be happy with in terms of European football next season? Is it sort of Champions League or bust?
Yeah, I'd say it probably is. Because I don't think they can get into the top 6 at this point, unless their goal difference is a pretty massive swing with West Ham and us. And I think the results will go against them in terms of who's playing who. And I think those fans and that club, they want to be a European club, and I don't think they're really going to mind too much how that goes. So I think for them, it's going to be throw everything at the Europa League final. I think they'll do it as well. I think they're a better team than Sevilla.
Well, good luck to Liverpool. Right, that's our show. So follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. It's at V2 Football, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hello, this is Bianca Westwood from Gillette Soccer Saturday on Sky Sports, and you are listening to the V2 Football Podcast.